We now had a clear path towards solving this problem, so I decided to get this over with fast. There were two problems still in play: my time limit and the location of his core. In terms of time, I still had a lot of that. We had been using haste and thought to minimize the time spent on that last conversation, so only a few seconds of real time had passed. Even with the attacking and defending that took place in between, I still had over 3 minutes to work with. The problem was the core's location. It was inside his body, close enough that I could communicate with it via telepathy, but pinpointing its exact coordinates was actually pretty tricky. Should I accidentally destroy it in the process, all would be lost. This mission would be a failure, and Veldora would go through the reincarnation process. Normally, you'd never have to worry about this. The core of the creature is the most heavily protected part of it. But in Veldora's case, his core was detached from his main body, leaving it fairly defenseless. A careless strike in the wrong place could wind up landing a direct hit, which would be beyond unfortunate. It'd free him from Veldora's control, I'm sure, but it'd also wipe out Veldora's current personality, and it wouldn't restore our soul corridor, either. That had to be avoided at all costs. If I could devour Veldora all at once, I wouldn't need to worry about any of this. Sadly, though, swallowing him whole was impossible, even with my complex base, not without his consent. I could try weakening him and cutting down his magicule count a bit, or I could try some more predation on him, being careful not to damage the core along the way. Now that I thought about it more, actively damaging Veldora's body seemed like a non-starter. Maybe clocking him on the head a few times, like I did before, was kind of scarily dangerous. I came in thinking it'd be hard to damage him, much less defeat him, and now he seemed like this fragile figurine to me. Of course, a bolt or two of magic wouldn't even scratch him, and a random punch or kick would achieve little as well. Only when you add the effects of an ultimate skill to these attacks, does the damage become more substantial. Even disintegration, the most powerful of holy magic, could only do a little bit of damage against Veldora's gigantic frame. The durability of these true dragons was no joke. It's what made them true dragons. So, yeah, I think some attacking is safe enough, but you never know what'll happen if you hit someone in the wrong place. That was doubly true now that Veldora didn't have control over his own body. There was just no telling what he would do. Thus, until I knew the location of Veldora's core, it was safest not to launch any attacks. That meant I had just one way forward. I needed to put my nose to the grindstone, use predation to eat away at it bit by bit, and hope I find the core along the way. It'd be a race against time, but I had no other option. Just 3 minutes, but then again, 3 minutes could be all the time in the world for me. Filing the time issue in the back of my mind, I turned Beelzebub up to full power, and began eating my way into Veldora. My body reverted from human to slime form, not my usual bouncy liquid form, but a kind of viscous, irregularly shaped blob. This was Ciel optimizing my shape in accordance with the hostile predation I was engaged in. The more contact surface I had with my target, the more efficient the process was. So my constantly shifting body ate into the surface of Veldora's body, spreading itself around him. But the target was just too big. No matter how far I stretched myself out, I was really just a dot from Veldora's point of view. It was a daunting task, but I couldn't give up now. Throwing all caution to the wind, I accelerated my hostile consumption, activating Soul Consume as I searched for his core. This, too, would have been impossible without Ciel's assistance. Looking at that incredible strength it exhibited earlier, I was starting to think it had computational power on a scale far beyond what Raphael had. Guess not only monsters evolve when you name them. Thanks to Ciel, things were overall going pretty smoothly right now, but we weren't entirely free of obstacles. To be exact, I was in intense pain. Veldora's body had detected what I was up to, and it was resisting me at all costs. The Storm Dragon's aura was causing my body to disintegrate. I was trying to consume it while it was trying to quash me, and the battle was only just beginning. Pain, heat, and suffering. I wasn't supposed to be able to feel pain, but it was now coursing across my entire body. Heat shouldn't have meant anything to me, but I felt like someone was dunking me in unbearably hot water. And then the agonizing suffering, something I had never felt before in this world. The dangerous sensation of having my existence wiped out shortly triggered all of my survival instincts. But I wasn't going to relent. I was going to win. I would overcome this agony and save Veldora. And I wasn't alone now. In Ciel, I had a more reliable partner than ever before. That's why I was so determined to devour the Storm Dragon and absorb Veldora's core. If I could achieve that, this much pain was never gonna stop me. Everything alright, Ciel? Leave it to me. We're good, then. With Ciel's trustworthy reply in hand, I expanded my predation. One thing standing in my way was all the energy I was feeding on. Normally it'd be converted into power for me, but against a true dragon, it didn't work that way. Instead of becoming my power, it was destroying my body from the inside. I suppose dragons are so powerful down to the individual cell level that nothing can ever bind them down. Somehow this dragon got taken over by the enemy anyway, but no point whining about that now. Whenever part of my body is lost, infinite regeneration kicks in to rebuild and replace it. That was one way I could forcibly take in the energy I was consuming. It'd be a lot easier if I could just throw it away, but that wasn't gonna happen. I had to analyze and assess all this energy first, or else I might wind up damaging Veldora's core. It was a really tedious process, but it was still the best way. Such was my decision after conferring with Ciel. Now it was up to me to keep going with it. I put my mind on cruise control as I kept up my work. The clock was still ticking, but I was dealing with a huge target. I began worrying that we might not make it, but I still had faith in Ciel. We were guaranteed to make it in time. I had some free time, so I performed some analysis work. Would you like to hear about it? What do you mean, you had some free time? I'm kind of in horrifying pain right now. What are you even up to? I was performing an analyze and assess process on Velgren's powers, examining her cardinal acceleration while she was isolated in complex space. No, that was a rhetorical question. Wait, you figured it out. I failed to reproduce the power, but it is possible to develop a very similar technique. You crazy, Ciel. Maybe I should just assume that it's reading my surface consciousness of all times. Better be more aware of my mental barriers, I guess. I'll have to think matters through on a deeper level than before. Still, though, getting to imitate Velgren's most powerful move, as Ciel breathlessly claimed, would be pretty cool. That, despite the fact you can't copy ultimate skills just by observing them. Wait a minute. What else was it analyzing? I decided to ask it directly, despite my trepidation. What else have you been analyzing? Ciel eagerly spoke up, as if it had been waiting for the question. Right. I have also finished analyzing Stormblast. By taking advantage of the remainders from the skull Veldora, Lord of the Storm, this skull is now available for use. Wait. This is major news. I practically don't even feel the pain any longer. That sounded like such an incredibly difficult analysis to make. I was unsure if I could believe it at first. It acted like this was just some side project. No, it is true. And that is not even the important part. Here's the main thing. I couldn't help but have that reaction in my surface consciousness. But whatever. No point hiding stuff from it anyway. It was convincing enough, though. I still had the ultimate skill Veldora, Lord of the Storm, in me. Taking advantage of that, I could see how I could reproduce Stormblast well enough. That's a pretty damn powerful skill, so it'd be nice if I could grab it for myself. I was happy for that, and despite my initial surprise, I suppose performing that kind of work wasn't too unusual by Ciel's standards. At this point, I was more curious about what Ciel thought the main thing was. So what is that? I have completed analysis of the storm dragon you have been predating. This will make it possible to transform your body composition into the same type as a true dragon. Would you like to carry this out? Pardon. That's a pretty casual way of saying something very disturbing, isn't it? Transforming my bodily composition into the same type as Veldora. And you're asking if I want to carry this out like it's a quick little errand. Now I'm a little confused. If I'm understanding this correctly, does this mean I would become a true dragon? That is the correct way to see it, yes. What? It's the correct way. Like, are you serious? Of course. So, would you like to evolve into a true dragon? Yes. No. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha 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 ha. I unconsciously executed a 3-part progression of evil laughter. Still giving me yes/no ultimatums, huh? I thoughtlessly noted as I gave the command. Yes. Instantly, the pain I felt vanished. No pain, no burning, no agony. The storm dragon's aura no longer penetrated me because I had a draconic aura of my own. Now, the more energy consumed, the more I stored for myself. My magicule count shot ever higher. I was afraid it'd expand to the point where it'd go out of control and explode on me. Not a problem. I will provide perfect energy management. Yeah, I'm sure you will. With Ciel, there was no need to worry. Now my true dragon self had an identical number of magicules as Veldora. Then I broke through the limit. With this, a new true dragon was born, and the moment I started being distracted from my current situation, I realized that any further delay in dealing with the storm dragon would be fatal. You have won, Rimuru. I am rather surprised to see you become a true dragon, but it seems my eyes never deceived me after all. Ka ha ha ha. Veldora, on the other hand, didn't seem too surprised as he rejoiced for me. He was acting like he'd raised me from a baby or something, but it goes without saying that his contribution to this was next to nothing. Besides, it was too early to be declaring victory. Veldora's core was the key to all of this, and I still didn't know where it was. Time to put the icing on this cake, then. Right, let's get this over with. How dare some puppet like this call itself the Storm Dragon? How dare they? Consume it all, Beelzebub. At my order, Beelzebub devoured the Storm Dragon's body with glee, I might add, not to mention tremendous speed. Now things were incredibly one-sided in this conflict, the one who eats, and the one who's eaten. The very embodiment of survival of the fittest. The curtain quietly fell on the epic battle. During it, we witnessed an evolution, a new birth, and a bold step into the future. The remnants of the energy that leaked away from me filled the area with a blinding light, the light of blessing, a light celebrating the birth of a new truth. This was the light that my old body, the one that hadn't transformed into a true dragon, emitted as it was converted into pure energy, and even it would be consumed by me as it faded from the world. With that, my goal was achieved in truly perfect form.